Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Mario.
Or is it technically Mario?
It could be that, honestly, because so the actual
because of spacing.
The ROM hack title is Mario, like no spaces in between. But the creator of the ROM hack is M space R M space A space R space I space O. So
yes.
But I think it's just like it's Mario, or it's all in all caps. So is it Mario? Because you have to shout it because it's in all caps.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're doing Mario.
No, you just clarified. We're doing Mario.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we're doing Mario. By and the story was written and posted by Adam on the Super Mario World Central forums. Though you can read it on creepypasta.wiki since it's been archived there. The hack that was the ROM hack that was created for that the story is based off of is by an account called, like we just said, M space A space R space I space O, or Mario.
How many times are we going to say Mario? Get a Mario counter going.
Oh God, I already have a drinking game for this story.
Oh, okay.
Like legitimately, I do in my notes. I have a drinking game. It's not a very elaborate one, like we had for the Godzilla NES episode years back. But
right.
Speaking of, actually, so Matt from Drunken the Ugly podcast sent me a link to a YouTube video that goes in depth on the mystery surrounding this story's ROM hack and its origins and stuff. It's what brought my attention to this whole creepypasta that you can find on the wiki and stuff. Though I had actually seen the creepy image that is associated with this creepypasta before, I just never tackled it, or I thought we had tackled this, and then I realized, oh no, that was the Super Mario 64 creepypasta, not the Super Mario World creepypasta here. I'm going to leave a link to in the description below to that video, because it is actually way more. It's very fascinating, and it goes really in depth into the origins of not just the story, but the ROM hack and the events and almost like the mini ARG, like the augmented reality game that kind of and mystery that spawned after this story and this ROM hack were posted on those forums. And the video is by KTB, but there are other folks on YouTube that have done video essays on the meaning and origin of this story and the ROM hack, such as Muta from Some Ordinary Gamers. But the KTB video actually has some in-depth info from the supposed creator of the ROM hack itself. So it kind of gives a little bit more insight into why they did this, or why they made this and posted this. But yeah, before we dive too further into the actual, because we're not really gonna handle the ARG aspect or the events that happened after the story. We're gonna take the story that was written by somebody who got creeped out by a ROM hack, and wrote down their thoughts and experience and posted it, and it turned into a real life creepypasta. We're gonna talk about and discuss and review that creepypasta that sparked all this effectively, and probably honestly sparked a bunch of other Mario or video game creepypastas in the process, because this was one of the OG video game creepypastas. But yeah, before we do that though, let's do a initial recommendation. with all that said, I'm not going to recommend this story.
Wow.
I am also not recommending the story.
Wow. How dare you both? I will partially recommend it on the low end.
Interesting. I'm legitimately curious.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, yeah. Let's find out why we gave it such a low score on our recommendation meter. But we're gonna start with the rundown, featuring The Rock. Except we can't call it The Rock, and I'm also not going to do that bit as much, because the story has a narrator, and they're the author of the story, because this is technically a non-fiction creepypasta.
Yes, this is for reals.
Yeah. So a member of the Super Mario World Central ROM hack community, Adam, notices an odd hack in the queue to be checked and given a pass and a playthrough.
Before you finish, and just in case anyone doesn't know, a ROM hack is basically with people like with older games. People basically, it's a mod basically, is what it is. I don't know why it's a different name, but ROM hack is basically you take the game and you mod it, and then that's a modded version of the game.
Yeah,
that's the TLDR on that.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same reason why, I think the hack aspects kind of also stems similar to like tabletop RPGs. Like, oh, this is a hack of the Powered by the Apocalypse system, or like this is a Monster of the Childish Things hack, or a D&D hack kind of stuff. So it's just like, yeah, it's a mod. A hack is just another term for mod.
I think generally, like these days with mods, you can have multiple mods installed, but with like a hack, it's a singular thing.
Yeah,
it's like a complete overhaul, like one mod to rule it all
situation. Except when you go to like games like Fallout 4 and like other, and
that's
like,
what I'm saying. It's different to mods.
Well,
because hacks are complete overhauls worth one thing.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And you can't do multiple hacks in one game, at least as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Adam fellow is going through the queue of like the various like ROM hacks that need to be like looked at and approved for staying in the posts and stuff. Decides to play through this game, freaks out, and writes a creepypasta account of it. That's really about it. The gameplay is odd, with the game world being relatively the same but missing large swaths of assets, and telling the narrative of a world beaten by a bad Mario who seems to be going through the empty, defeated lands again, or as a sort of atonement. At least that's inferred by the author of the story who's playing this. As they try to make
in New Game Plus right now.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's basically like New Game Plus, which and yeah, the author is trying to decipher, like through the creepypasta, he's trying to decipher what the story or meaning is behind this ROM hack. Like what is the person who hacked this game is trying to say with this game. And the game ends with the player jumping into a pit and the game crashing, thus like kind of just ending the experience completely. There's also several custom messages from like message boxes in the Super Mario World game that berate and warn the player / Mario as he goes on through the world. Like people are like, it's just like, I hate you, go back, stuff like that. There's other like more like sinister messages. Like there's like a victim one description of like some woman that was like killed and her like eyeball was gouged out, and she's like on the she's like gotten strangle marks or something, and she's like dead on the carpet. And the hack was also accompanied with a text file, which was later revealed to be an image or photo of a supposed victim. Like the Adam shared this mod with the head of the forums, a Kieran, and it was Kieran that looked up the text file, saw that it was a text file that could be converted to an image, and when they did, they found this like disturbing image that kind of matches the victim mentioned in the message boxes in the game. And the mystery just kind of took off from there for a little while, and before petering out, and then like eventually kind of some things coming to light about the event and some of that. But that's more about the ARG aspect. That's not really the story that we find here. Like the story kind of ends with the author of this story playing through till the end and like warning people. It's like, don't worry, this game can't hurt you in real life, or can it? For some reason. Finn. So, with that out of the way, I suppose we'll move on to everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions. At this point, I've got a couple, so yeah. I will start with this one. Naturally showed these hacks to the Centralites, currently on hashtag SMWC. Feel like it should say, naturally I showed these hacks to the Centralites.
Yeah.
And then my next one. Oh boy, was in for a fun surprise. So I think it should be, oh boy, was I in for a fun surprise. Instead of the double in.
Also, yes.
Then my next one here. Upon reaching the end, I saw a fire flower in the top block where a 4-way block intersection used to be. However, it was too high for me to reach by normal means, so I just continued onward like the blind, curious idiot I am would do. Little run on. I think it'd be better like this. Like there's some other things wrong aside from being the run on, so I just decided to like take it and like do the edits, and then like so I could read out the actual like edited version.
Yeah.
Upon reaching the end, I saw a fire flower in the top block where the 4-way block intersection used to be. Period. However, comma, it was too high for me to reach by normal means, comma. So I just continued onward, comma, like the blind, comma, curious idiot I was. Period.
Yes.
Because at the very end is like it was really like hit like I was like, so I just continued onward like the blind, curious idiot I am would be, or I am would do. As it's like you don't need that would do. No. Really, like you could just end that. So, but yeah, just like even like the singular period I added, like fixed the run on sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then my last one here. I was immediately given a mushroom to prevent me from entering it. So I proceed further to see if there is anything else in the level. Welcome to my tense talk. Do not use is when you just used was in a sentence. Please. Like the first part of that was like past tense and then immediately goes to present tense. But yeah, I don't know if there were other like past and present tenses. None of them like really like called out to me more than this one did.
I didn't catch any of them, to be honest.
Yeah. I maybe I was like getting a little bit more grouchy like with some of the errors or like the story itself. So I was like a lot more picky by this point in the story.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's my tense talk. Do not use is present tense after you've just used was past tense. But I digress. That is the end of my Grammar Inquisition. Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Well, I have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot,
doot. So it all happened on tonight of all nights. It reads as follows. It is your job to save her. So, when I opened the hack, I was greeted by 2 files. So, I then proceeded to move the ROM and the IPS patcher to the folder with the hack. So, the title screen loaded, exactly like it would with Super Mario World, except it just had Mario on the title like I had mentioned earlier. So I decided to head left. So that left me thinking that Mario, at one point in time in the author's story, did something. But what? It reads as follows. So I finally beat the level, and as usual, the path to the Yellow Switch Palace was unlocked. Or was it about me? So, me and Yoshi, I still had him at the time, opened up the next path on the overworld. It too was changed. It's apparent that the hack wanted me to keep him. I could tell that much. It's like they were telling me to stop playing, or something. It ended, and I was brought to the rescue egg scene, though instead of the usual message, I was shown something disturbing and vastly different, like a profile for the scene of a crime. It was as follows. And furthermore, was the girl Princess Toadstool. It took me a while to see if I read the message correctly. Then I proceeded outwards, though I was wondering what happened next, since the main map was completely gone and there was no trace of it anywhere. It was still called Donut Plains 1. And what happens after this? It's obvious that the author didn't want me going through any of them, or I wouldn't have gotten the mushroom in the first place. It worked. I went through the brick wall. It acted like a pipe, and I did a pipe animation that looked like I was going into the darkness. Or can it? Finn.
It's like it was almost like a
What?
succinct version of the Let's Play, but also there's a bunch of missing bits.
Sometimes it's saying like, and the message reads this, and then it doesn't read the message at all.
Or like you expected the next thing that Mikey says is like what the message says.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
yeah. Like the princess, like I was like, oh, was the princess like the message read this? Was Princess Peach the victim? I was like, what? Yeah.
And for those unaware, Mikey does these strings of sentences to highlight all the sentences in a story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ends, or buts, but there's always better words to use.
Indeed. All right. I suppose that leaves with the gamer in yellow and the grammar in yellow.
Indeed. My first one, just in regards to the intro before the quote unquote story.
Yeah.
And this is in regards to the he/she situation.
Yeah.
How it repeats like 3 times. I feel like you could just do it once and then use they for the latter two.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because it like you read it once and you get it. You don't need to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
And then into the actual story, and Nair's talking about looking for the hacks and stuff like that. The first few hacks I saw when I sorted them by date were a couple really horrible ones with bad screenshots to boot. Then it goes down to the next paragraph. Naturally, showed these hacks to the Centralites.
The
Centralites currently on SMWE. So I feel like these 2 paragraphs should be clicked together because they're directly talking about the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Or at least like the last sentence should be clicked into the next paragraph because otherwise it would be a massive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's a direct continuation. And then this next part, I showed this to how do you say that? Kyron?
Kieran.
Kieran? Is Kieran?
Yep.
I showed this to Kieran, and he started laughing at the description. It read as follows: as you play the role of Super Mario Plumber, verify that you are beautiful. I'm not going to read that again. Uh, Bowser kidnapped the evil king. It is your job to save her. This hack includes 6 levels of very long. So that whole thing should be in quotes because he's quoting it.
Yeah, yeah. Or even in brackets, but yeah. Quotes or brackets.
Well, there's no like literal dialogue in this, so
Mhm.
quotes works fine, I think. And then we get down to the first message. Yes, the first message from the message block, where it says message read as follows. Then it goes on the next paragraph. What
Yeah.
the?
Yeah, so I actually figured that out.
Yeah.
And it's in my actual thoughts, but yeah, continue.
Because like the formatting of this is weird. I feel like when it goes, it does this multiple times, but I'm just going to say it the one time because it's uniform throughout the whole story. When it goes, the message read as follows, it should click down and have the image on the far left, like directly underneath it. So there's no chance of more dialogue in the way, unless there's no way to do that in creepypasta.fandom.
So here's the thing. We're reading it on. I assumed you also read it on the browser, like on a computer.
Yeah.
When I went on this on my phone, it formatted perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a format issue on the website for browser versus like mobile.
God damn it.
But you're right, it is still a problem. But yeah, like I had to say, I bring up the same thing actually in my actual thoughts because I thought it was more of like a computer format problem than a grammar inquisition thing. But I think it honestly also could be a grammar issue because or like format is kind of goes hand in hand with grammar.
Yeah.
Stuff. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, we're like you're right. Like there should be something, but like for some reason the website either there is no option or like the person didn't use that option to like have this work for browser and mobile, because when you read it on a mobile or even like if you honestly if you port this to Google Docs, it does put that image underneath message. So I don't know what the website is doing. That makes it different. But yeah, it is very confusing.
The website's fault. They probably can't get around it.
Yeah. But yeah, the web's it is very confusing because like that I had the same hiccup. I was like, the message reads as follow. What the question mark? And then I was like, wait. And then I looked at the image, the image that has the message, like, that's not the same message. Oh, okay. It's the message reads as follows, and then you're supposed to read the screenshot and then dive into the paragraph.
Yes, but after the first flub, then I realized how it's meant to be read, and I didn't screw up further.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is very annoying.
Mm-hmm. This one you technically talked about that long one, the long run on that you changed the end of, where it's curious idiot I am wood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I first read that, I'm like, is that intentional? Because he just called himself an idiot. So,
I mean,
so typing curious idiot I am wood seems kind of like on brand, and that's at that point.
Yeah,
but
no, it's not supposed to actually be that. But
no, either way, moving on. We are down to the part where the picture says lifeless and barren. That one.
Okay.
I entered the level. As I entered, I was welcomed by a solid black background and a blue and gray colored floor.
Okay.
Is what it reads. So this might be a bit of a nitpick, and tell me if it was a nitpick, but I would prefer the use of ground here instead of floor. Because, like, yes, there's a picture to clarify, and that's how I know it's meant to be natural ground cover. But still, floor immediately made me think of like the black and white checkerboard floor pattern in Mario games, just with blue and white, or some other interior floor. Because I tend to tie the word floor with indoors, and ground is exterior.
Yes. It is a
Personally, I would
nitpick,
like
but I also agree with you.
cool. Now here's another color-related one.
Oh,
It's the picture that says Yoshi. In all caps.
Ow.
Rip headphone users.
yeah, much like the one thing that happened to this story later on, or like at some point. Yeah.
Mhm.
Continue.
Either
sorry.
way, there was this darkish, bluish, greenish, black lava on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And there were some gold points that looked like pillars. So the accompanying picture shows this room, and the ceiling lava is the exact same color as the floor, which is just gray. So gray
Or-
lava would work fine.
Well, hang on, because I like if it might be
It's
just my,
gray.
like it might just be my slight colorblind, but I am kind of seeing it as like teal, like a muted teal. But
To me, it just looks like gray. I'm sure if I pull this into GIMP and do an
do a
image,
color.
do a color rip of it, it'll probably just come up with gray or maybe slight bluish. But either
Yeah.
way,
But
off
it's definitely
gray is still gray.
yeah, it's certainly not bluish, greenish, like
Yeah, what color even is that?
again, like that's teal, like bluish and greenish, and like some of that. But like,
But
I
also
don't,
grayish and black.
yeah, I don't see any black in there.
I mean, the gaps in between each
I
one, maybe.
guess,
But that doesn't
but
count.
like, yeah, that shouldn't count. Yeah,
Either way, if I said that's gray lava, you would agree with me.
yeah, it'd be fine. Yeah,
There. Not color-related discrepancies in this one.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm just mad because it's not like off yellow. It's not reddish
Yeah.
yellow like it's supposed to be. Anyways, when I landed, and this is later on when he's the portal one basically is when it's called portal. Black background, like stone on the ground. Regardless, doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
When I
Yeah.
landed, I tried moving right again to see if there was any way to go on. All of a sudden, I heard the pipe sound, and I was making the pipe animation, except there was no pipe present. So it looked quite odd. When I read this, I thought the pipe animation was the vertical animation going down,
Mhm.
which is like the most iconic pipe animation for Mario. But after reading this, it means the horizontal one, walking into
Yeah.
the pipe in the wall. So maybe there should be something here to distinguish that. Like, all of a sudden, I heard the pipe sound, and I was making the pipe animation into the wall.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that would fix that.
Because I imagine he touched the wall and just went boop, 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 like down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that is the end of the grammar in yellow.
All right. Then I suppose we'll move on to actual thoughts. So I'm gonna start with this one here. I simply dismissed this as someone trying to act Japanese and release a crappy hack with some edits or so. That's what I thought this was at first. And then we get the screenshot of like the title screen with like Mario and like just the basic title screen for a Super Mario World, except the title is Mario. And then we get this. Curiosity got the best of me. I decided to download the hack, not knowing what I was in for, since the single screenshot of the hack was the title screen and nothing but the letters Mario from Super Mario World's title screen. I thought it was a little odd how there was no dates or anything either, as hackers usually place their names and dates on the titles to mark when the project was started. Okay, first off, you're right. It really should be modders, because hackers has a different connotation
Yeah.
in online
Mhm.
communities. But like maybe hackers was what they were calling themselves in this community back when this first came out, because like this was probably like in the early to mid 2000s.
They might still call
Mhm.
themselves that because they are making ROM hacks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, I
Mhm.
get it, but again, as you said, that
Yeah.
word has other connotations. That
But
are
it might
not-
have it might just simply have that connotation also with this circle of this community and this circle of group, like, so I'm not going to judge that too harshly. It's just like, yeah, no, nowadays that would just be modders. But yeah, so like reading this and like them getting interest, like curiosity got the best of me, and I'm just like, why? why did this grab you out of the 33 or so other hacks? It honestly doesn't look like anything special. Like, maybe given the oddly translated description that is given, but otherwise, like, the screenshot given here doesn't have anything really out there that pushes it apart from anything else to me. I know.
He explains why.
Why?
Fucking tell me why.
Yeah, I want to know. Like,
I dare you. Because, okay, first off, there's only the one screenshot of the title screen, so there's no actual gameplay, so it leaves you wondering what the actual mod is, because it's not showing the mod. So that's where the curiosity of that is. Also, he says later on that most crappy mods, they just do some like random stuff to a couple levels and that's it. They don't bother or know how to mess around with the title screen. So the fact that this guy knew how to mess around with the title screen, he knows how to make a mod.
All right,
he knows what he's doing.
Also,
yet there's nothing there. So what's here?
Yeah, I guess that is also the character does say like right off the top that he was bored this night, so he just like decided. So like maybe that's it. Honestly, like to me, it's like the only thing I could come up with when I was thinking about it was like maybe just the simplicity of it, like just like the lack of something like made it stand out from like all the other like jumbled bullshit. But like just the simple Mario on it. But yeah, I guess that is all right. What else do I have here? Hang on. I think another thing, like again, like this is supposedly a real account, so this is like actually what happened to Adam. So I can't really like call this on a merit of how I would write this differently, but it for me it was like, now if this was like he was actually going through like the various hacks and playing some of them or like the first couple of minutes of them and stuff of that, and this one stuck out through his play, that would make more sense to me than him just like finding this one and seeing it. But again, we just point out that like he took note of this one because supposedly like this, like he thought this hacker was, or this modder or hacker was a level above the rest.
He seemed at least somewhat competent, and yet the lack of information and screenshots left him wondering what's actually here. Then I must know.
Yeah, and that's going to become a very common theme throughout this entire fucking creepypasta. Is like, I should turn back, but I must know. So I'm going to start with this. The next one here. The message read as follows. And this is the screenshot. Welcome. This is Dinosaur Land. In this strange land, we find that Princess Toadstool is missing again. Looks like Mario is at it again. Mario, the antagonist, is like what's underneath it and such. What the question mark? This wasn't the original message from Super Mario World, I thought to myself. Okay, so this is
playing a mod.
This is a small nitpick. Oh wait, did I? Damn it! Okay, I brought this up earlier. This is actually for the fact that this was like on the side. But yeah, no, duh. You're playing a mod. Why are you so like surprised?
Yeah, I didn't think about that at the time, but yeah,
honestly, like that went through the all the time I was reading the story. That becomes a running theme for me as I read the story. It's like, why are you surprised?
Why are you surprised that it's not the actual Mario when you're
exactly
specifically playing a not Mario game?
Yeah.
I think it's because he loaded up the hack and then forgot that it was a hack.
Yeah, maybe.
Like he just suddenly has amnesia. It's like, I'm just gonna play Mario World. Why is it so weird? I don't remember doing this.
Why am I playing Super Mario World New Game Plus?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get this one here, this next thing here. Upon opening the message I expected to be there was replaced with what seemed like binary, and then it does a bunch of zeros and ones and ones and zeros and zeros and ones, and then it has like Yoshi, and then the little like descriptor for the screenshot is binary cryptic, and then apparently it says notepad. At this point, I was on IRC telling everyone about how the hack was starting to weird me out, which in itself yielded some sarcastic responses. But hey, I expected it. And I was like, yeah, you should, because why is this so weird to you? You're playing a hack of a game to kick that horse continually. Also,
because there's fucking binary in it.
I get, still, it's a hack. Like, so it has like an interesting like gimmick to it. Also,
here's the thing that you're kind of missing.
Okay.
The reason that he's so weirded out with all of this is because of what's said at the end. Basically, just there's no. This is first of its kind. There weren't creepy Mario hacks before this, so he wasn't expecting anything cryptic and weird.
I guess.
But as soon as you see it, then it's fucked up.
You know, you're right. I am reading this story going like with like years and years of like experience with creepypasta. I'm still gonna treat it like that while I'm reading the story because that's how I was feeling while I was reading the story.
Fair. I'm not gonna say that you should reread it or whatever.
Yeah, with a different perspective. Yeah.
Your perspective is valid.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I did also go into an ASCII translator for binary and like type this in, and it doesn't indeed say notepad. If you use basic ASCII, if you do like apparently like another type of ASCII, it does just D.
Yeah. Yeah. I translated it myself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you can do that.
Yeah. Because I learned binary. It's really simple.
It's just ones and zeros.
Yeah, really.
It's pretty
good. Yeah, so I was more pissed off at the message. Upon opening, the message I expected to be was replaced with what seemed like binary. It doesn't seem like binary. It is binary.
Now, this kid may not know what binary, like what seemed like binary. Like it may not know exactly what binary is, but it looks like binary.
It's pretty easy to notice if it's binary.
I mean,
though.
You guys are calling me out.
Binary, you know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like you're calling me out on this is the first of its kind, and this kind of like ROM hacks, creepy ROM hacks never happened. So like you shouldn't go into this with your already your already existing knowledge of creepypastas, like creepy games and stuff like that. Yeah, Mikey, you should also not go into this expecting that everyone knows what binary is. Like, geez.
But he knows the word binary.
Yeah.
So if you know the word binary, you know what binary is. It's not like he said, there's a message of just ones and zeros that I later found out is binary. Then that means at the moment he was ignorant of it, but he figured it out after. That's fine. But he just straight up said it's binary. It looks like binary, which means it is binary. Which means he knows what binary is. Can I say binary one more time?
Say it again.
You. Yes.
I already did.
How fucking dare you? Yeah, I suppose.
Very combative episode today.
Yeah. Well, the story wasn't very good, so at least I didn't think it was that great. But I'll continue on here. Anyway, after this, my interest level in this hack skyrocketed, and along with it, my paranoia. Just why? Again, I'll stop. I'll try to stop bringing this up in my notes, but it's like you went into this as a hack, and that should be different from the regular Super Mario World. Why are you getting paranoid at this stage? And again, yes, okay, this is the first kind of Super Mario creepy creepy hack that has cryptic messages and stuff like that. So maybe that's off-putting to a teen, because I'm assuming that Adam was a teen when he wrote this and such. But still, just why is I can understand for your interest a little bit as to this is a unique hack, but why with the paranoia? But yeah.
Well, you said the way that it makes him feel is there's empty and depressed kind of vibes from it, just because of how there's nothing there in some of the maps and it's all muted tones. There's a lot of elements of creep in it.
Yeah,
especially for someone who is not completely desensitized to creepy stuff.
Yeah, I guess that is the difference in my perspective from from this person and myself is just like I have been desensitized, or I've come to want and like search out this aspect of ROM hacks. Not like I'm not just the everyman who like looks who's not expecting a creepy ROM hack.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just my perspective on it. It's just like why are you freaked out by this?
Yep.
And then the next thing here, I guess it's also like a level of my tolerance of like what I find creepy in a video game creepypasta. But I'll move on to the next thing I have here.
Mm-hmm.
Upon entering level 105, I was greeted by the insanely loud clown car sound that Bowser's flying vehicle makes right before Peach falls out. Of course, with my headphones being moderately high, the sound scared the living shit out of me, which wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been so nervous beforehand. And this, I get like kind of what happened earlier with like Yoshi with you. I imagined immediately the cockroach spy scene from The Fifth Element, where like the dude working for the villain like has like a cockroach with like a surveillance thing on it, and he's like listening in on like the president of the earth or whatever, and then the president just like gets his shoe up because he notices the cockroach on his desk and is like, excellent, smashes it down, thus causing massive audio feedback on the guy's ear headset, and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
So I just imagine that, like, as soon as you open this level, and like he just like throws his headset off. It's like, ah. But yeah. But yeah, moving on to the next thing here. The dragon coin was still there. However, for some odd reason, I wasn't able to collect it, or rather any dragon coins at all. The author made certain of that. I also noticed that there was a brown used block. That there was a brown used block near the spot where the bonsai bill.
Bonsai.
Is that how you spell bonsai? Or the bonsai bill?
I mean, I didn't look up the proper spelling.
I also did not. I probably should have, because just because like, is that actually how bonsai bill is spelled?
Banzai.
Fuck. Okay. Yeah. So bonsai bill normally shows up. I can only assume this was a revisit to the level after I had beaten it, like I heard in some half-assed creepy stories in other Mario games. I'd say something about dissing other Vigipastas in your own Vigipasta. If this wasn't apparently a real account somebody had of a ROM hack and wrote it down.
Wait, I thought he said that this is the first creepy one that ever happened. So how is he referencing other creepy ones?
It's one of the first. It's certainly probably one of the first like Super Mario creepypasta, like Super Mario World hack pastas. But there were other video game creepypastas before this one. Like Ben Drown came out before this one.
Okay.
But there were other like video game creepypastas, but like this is one of the first where like a ROM hack had been made for a creepypasta.
Okay.
Yeah, and it did also inspire other creepypastas around like ROM hacks and stuff like that afterward. So,
okay,
yeah. So I should have been more clear. It's like it's one of the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. So, but my thing says like I'd say something like maybe you shouldn't like gripe on like half-assed creepypastas or creepy stories in other Mario games.
Outright like name dropping.
No, but it's still like maybe you shouldn't like diss that when you're like about to post this story. But like this is also apparently a real account that you wrote, so like it kind of gets a pass on that. But I digress. I'll move on.
Okay.
This had me wondering what kind of sick and twisted hack I was playing. I had thought of all possible scenarios of Mario attacking Dinosaur Land horribly and causing irreversible damage. The author had me hooked with this sick little game. And like any other idiot, I took the bait and kept coming back for more. Okay.
I likes beating the shit out of himself, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Call himself an idiot like 3 times.
Yeah.
Who is he, me? Anyways, please continue.
Wow. Oh, that's self-deprecating humor. That's where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's humor. That's what it is.
Yeah. Are you okay there?
Yeah, I'm always fine.
Excellent. Okay. I like to postulate the horror and spooky angles of non-horror games as much as the next person nowadays. And when I'm playing a game that's not spooky, I try to find the spooky elements in it.
Mm.
But like this reaction over and again is so over the top and dramatized by this person writing this account that it hardly feels like a real account or a reaction to what has been presented thus far. Again, maybe it's just because I've been desensitized from this, but like this person is like really hamming it up on like I was so paranoid and freaked out by what I was playing and and especially to the contrary of what he's playing. It's like the game, the level was exactly the same as the regular game, except that there were whole sections that were missing or things that weren't all the enemies were gone, and these message boxes were like berating Mario or warning Mario and stuff like that. And it's like it almost feels like some half-assed creepy story, just like what you were saying earlier about like some of the elements in other half-assed creepy stories of Mario games.
Just because he's referring to other half-assed creepy stories, that doesn't mean he's not saying that his own story is half-assed.
Yeah, and
you could look at it that way, but also like, again, the desensitization, I think, is a big thing.
Yeah, maybe this person just is not used to like honestly, like if I imagine I might have had the same reaction if fresh little cultist had gotten into ROM hacks and then found like a creepy story, like before I really got into like creepy stuff and like creepy video games. If I found this would probably be like a turning point for me of of being like, yeah, exactly. Like, and like I would find it just as creepy as this person's like, what is this mystery that's going on in this game? So cryptic, it's using binary. Also, actually, going back quickly to the binary thing, like the message says notepad. That honestly should have been. I feel like that is like a definite. Like I'm not alone in this. That is definitely a clue. The notepad, that there's something off about that text file that's presented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically saying look further into the notepad file. It's not there for no reason.
Yeah. Exactly. And I like how it is actually in this. Like in terms of the ROM hack itself, I like that it's actually in that to kind of give like a clue, like for in the actual ROM hack about that other text file. But yeah, it's just like I think my big thing from the story is like I know this is the real account this person wrote based off of their experience with this ROM hack, but they dramatize this writing so much that it almost turns into an act like it almost feels like I'm reading a fictionalized like mid-tier or low-tier video game creepypasta.
I mean, I suppose. Have you never like played a game where like you play through the whole game and there's like the town you go to or whatever, and there's like lots of people there and they're all friendly and stuff, and then shit hits the fan and you go back there after that and there's just no one there, and you're walking through the town and there's just nothing there? Like that has a creepy vibe to it.
That's true, yeah, and yeah. No, you're right. Like that, like
valid.
that is, yeah, it is. I guess, yeah, it is valid. It's just like again, I can't turn off my lens.
Yeah.
Of being of the experiences I've had and like the desensitization of like, or the immersion I've had of like this kind of thing in games. So it's hard for me to kind of like really get into this person's like headspace again.
Yeah. Well, he and I share a common bond as both being idiots. So.
Wow. Just remember, gamer, you are loved.
Sure.
Like we're here for you.
It's mostly a joke. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or is it?
Much like the ending of the story, it's like this game can't hurt you, or can it? Honestly, the ending of the story, like it says, like, don't worry, this game can't hurt you, or can it? It's just like my therapist. Don't worry, this game's not real. It can't hurt you. And then the next scene is like the game, and it's like a real, like it's like a screen cap of it. But anyway, I digress.
I wasn't really a fan of the ending like that either.
Yeah, it just again like it adds to that honestly that aspect leans is like, all right, you're like, I feel like this story might, yes, it is I will say that it is likely this person's experience that they were writing down, but they're being real like hammy and like they turned their experience into a creepypasta on purpose, I think.
Like that last line of like it can't hurt you or can it kind of cheapened the ending to me.
Yeah, because it made it feel more like, okay, this person like what is like was this actually your event, like this your encounter with this ROM hack, or are you just like fabricating this your experience for spooks, right?
It's both.
Yeah, or a little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Like you're the hamming up, it almost kind of ruins the supposed like validity of it.
He's a drama student. Leave him alone.
Honestly, that might have been, or just a creative writer.
Yeah. Weird. He's putting writing online. He's probably a creative writer.
Yeah. But I'll move on to the next thing here. I entered the level. As I entered, I was welcomed by a solid black background and a blue and gray colored floor, or ground for the gamer.
Thank you.
The place seemed frozen, lifeless, and barren. There was nothing in the level at all, save the goal point. So this isn't in the hack or the story, but I think it could be a really interesting thing. It's something that kind of like came out of like me reading the story and like looking at the screenshots and like thinking about like a ROM hack kind of thing. If somebody did use a Super Mario World hack to tell the horror story of the extinction of the dinosaurs, like each level a different stage, and have like more and more horrific sprites and despair themed scenery of devastation and emptiness as the dinosaurs are wiped out by whatever cataclysm happened. Because this is the like Super Mario World is set in dinosaur land, and B, it's a thought that came to me through some of the descriptions and levels here. And it just kind of kept coming up, like the deserted, defeated areas that are empty and with like one or two sporadic enemies, or like that one line of groups of characters and stuff. It could make for an interesting hack, or even a vigipasta especially if there's something maybe even like supernatural element to it, or something like the character was getting visions after they finished the game and stuff of like that time period. I don't know. It's something that stuck out to me as like possible like game, or like not game fodder, but like pasta fodder for this from the story. Is like, what if somebody did like make a ROM hack that told like a horror story using the elements of the story that like the elements of this ROM hack being like dinosaur themed, like actually telling like the extinction of the dinosaurs or the extinction of life, and like having that be told through various levels. I think that might be interesting.
Yeah. One thing that I didn't really get is like the whole focus on like Yoshi and the dinosaur coins, and like the game not wanting him to not be on Yoshi. Where did that even go?
I don't think it went anywhere, honestly.
Yeah, like it didn't really do anything.
Because he didn't even need Yoshi, because most of the time the person who modded this had made invisible floors over pits so that he couldn't die until like the very end.
Well,
So
I think he needed him for gameplay purposes. I meant for story purposes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like even like game mechanic wise and like narratively, he didn't really need Yoshi there.
No.
And like it's especially if this is supposed to be like sort of like a Mario who has come through and devastated the dinosaur land and then come back through to this like dead land. Like yeah, why did you like I feel like having Yoshi almost kind of removes the isolationist element of being alone in a dead world, because you have that companion, right?
I mean, Yoshi's basically a vehicle at that point in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still like it's still like even though it's a vehicle, it still has like a bit of a character to it. So it's like it's still like almost like a companion.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe like if they hadn't had Yoshi, if it had just been like more messages, like when he got the question mark where Yoshi comes through or shows up, it's just like, what did you expect did you expect another sacrifice, Mario? Because that's another theme in this game is like there are parts of the levels where you have to sacrifice Mario or sacrifice Yoshi to like get past an obstacle, i.e. the pits, right?
I don't think you ever have to.
But it's a commonality in this game. Like it may not be like necessary, but there are like it's a constant theme that I see when I've looked at or played things in Super Mario World.
Yeah, like because you can use him. Players have found that you can use him to basically do a double jump.
Yeah,
because you could jump off of him, but
and
like
then,
the game wasn't designed around needing to sacrifice Yoshi to get across the pit.
No,
it's just it made it easier.
Yeah,
as
but it's still. Yeah, I think I don't. Yeah, I'm a little like iffy. Like it's been a while since I've played actual Super Mario World, which is weird because growing up it was one of my favorite ones because I'd like play it at a friend's place a lot. So, but yeah, I think that would be like an extra like add on to like the whole like isolation element of this ROM hack if like Yoshi wasn't there and like it again guilted Mario into like, oh, like all the times you it's like what you expect another sacrifice kind of thing, like they like threw that in.
Yeah,
but yeah,
because there really is. There's not a lot that actually talks about the story.
Yeah, especially since like the dragon coins are not attainable, but they're still there. Like
why?
Yeah, it's peculiar, but but I'll move on to the next thing I have here. With the level beaten, a new path opened up. Yoshi's Island 4 was now just leave now. Now I hesitated as to whether I should stop playing, but my interest kept me going further. And this is where I implement the drinking game. With every time, take a shot every time Adam gets freaked out or creeped out by the game and contemplates stopping playing, but his interest overrides that feeling and he keeps playing the game.
Yeah, that's
You'll
fair.
get a little tipsy by the end.
That's also pretty much every single video game creepypasta ever.
You're not wrong, but it was. I think it was just like it's been a long time since it's been a while since we've actually played or since we've read a video game creepypasta. That like going into this one, I forgot about that trope.
Yeah,
and it just like highlighted while I was reading the story. I was like, seriously, just he's like constantly like, why? I was like, why do I keep playing this? I must know more. It's like, okay, taking a shot. I didn't actually take a shot for these ones, but I feel like that would be an interesting, like a fun little like drinking game if you're rereading the story. But then we move on to the next thing here. At this point, hashtag SMWC was nothing but me posting findings and messages from the hack, so others could experience what I was experiencing. The channel, sadly, was unusually inactive. Seemed like no one really cared or wasn't around. I felt alone. I just kind of like reading this. I was like, okay, that's a nice little like bit of like the character, like the player being isolated because like they think that they're posting and stuff like that on this IRC chat or this IRC thing, and no one's replying back. So like it's like it feels like no one cares and getting more into the gloomy state that while they're playing this game. But I also can't help but like imagine the other, like the people on the other side of the chat, like just looking at these mad ramblings spewed forth by this guy playing this odd hack and just like shrugging as it's like TLDR, like too long did not read. Or just like wondering what this guy's smoking as he's like going, he's like, my God, guys, this is so crazy. Like, look.
But he's posting screenshots. There's no like obviously he's doing it.
But even like even with the screenshots, like some of them is like, okay, it's weird, but it's like, why are you freaking out so bad, bro? I don't know. Again, it's me throwing back to like just imagining the other side. It's just like, why?
The other side would be people just like him. People that
except they weren't because they were uninterested. Sorry.
I'm gonna stop beating the dead horse.
Yeah, honestly, I should probably just stop. Like, I'll see if hopefully I don't have any more of that because I do feel like I have been beating that horse to death.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna stop beating the dead horse and trying to change your mind on this.
I know, and I but the problem is like a lot of my notes are based off of that. The situations. So it like, believe me, I do understand where you're coming from now, but when I was reading the story and taking my notes, a lot of my notes were just like from that mindset of like, why do you find this weird? Like,
Yeah.
And it's weird that I'm feeling that, but I guess it's just because I am so like desensitized, or like I am so like I was expecting so much more.
Yeah.
But which I don't know why I was expecting more, because this is grounded in reality in that like nothing's going to hurt you, or is it?
Or does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in regards to the other people on the forum and stuff, like what I was trying to say before is like they are just like him. They are also people that go to this forum or whatever to play Super Mario hacks, and they're never creepy and weird. They're just fun and cool. And then all of a sudden there's a weird one. So everyone would be reacting the same sort of way, being like, wait, what the fuck? Why is this here?
I don't know if like it would be always all the same, but like, yeah, you are right. Like, it'd be relative. Yeah, similarly.
Not exactly the same. They are not clones that I'm aware of.
And again, like, yeah, like and also like they're just getting like they're getting literally like secondhand account of the game. Like they're not playing the game themselves. So like, and their silence might honestly be them just like, I don't know if I want to keep looking at this. This is kind of creepy what he's saying and stuff.
It's equivalent to like watching a let's play of someone playing a horror game and you playing the horror game. One's a lot easier to deal with, and it isn't as creepy when you're not actually in control.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because you have that extra level of like safety. That the game can't hurt me. I'm just a viewer of somebody else playing the game.
Yeah.
It's like an SCP in D class. Sending D class to play Polybius or some other game, yeah. Or to play the princess. But I digress. I'll keep moving. Okay, yeah. So this part here, it ended and I was brought to the rescue egg scene. So instead of the usual message, I was shown something disturbing and vastly different, like a profile for a scene of a crime. It says it was as follows: Victim number 1. Eyeballs were unable to be found. The victim was found lying on her carpet. Causes of death unknown. Hand marks with unidentifiable fingerprints were found all over the corpse. And then underneath the screenshot, it says eyeballs were unable to be found. Okay, so again, I'm going to try not to beat the dead horse, but like this is the part in the story where it actually like this would have caused me pause playing this game.
Yeah.
Because the crime details contrast vividly against a Mario game. And now we're getting somewhere. Like this is sort of like where the story actually kind of goes a little bit more into like a murder, like what is about the mystery angle of this ROM hack. Like, is this, especially with like the notepad thing that we said earlier of like it being a clue to the nature of the text file and the that accompanies the story. It's cool, and it's easy to see why some cyber sleuths and bored internet folk, after the story and the ROM hack got posted, would get interested in this hack for the weird possible murder crime like mystery that related to the hack. It's sort of like the Pale Luna game creepypasta that we did years back, concept wise anyway, where like it's a game that could be created by a murderer or a criminal to give people clues as to where the bodies have been buried.
Yeah.
Sort of like a ROM hack Zodiac killer. And all that is way more interesting to me than how the story kind of presents it. Unfortunately, like when I was reading the story, I was like that whole aspect that surrounds this story and surrounds that the ROM hack, is really cool. For me, though, this story sort of gets bogged down by the let's play aspect, or like the walkthrough or let's play aspect that the character's doing, that the story needed to be a little bit more. I felt when I was reading it, it was just like it needed to kick into that a lot more than being like halfway through the story or halfway through the game. Like some of the earlier levels should have had a little bit more like creepy like hints or clues that they were finding. Because that's something to be scared of. Like that's something to be creeped out more, especially if this is a grounded game. Like that's something that like fuck is some like, because the character was like what is this sick fuck like made this game, and it's just a level with like a couple things that are just berating Mario and stuff like that. It's like, all right, I get it. It would be creepy in that process of like, again, I'm not being the dead horse. Gamer, sit down.
I've been sitting down the whole time.
but like that aspect is creepy if you're not expecting it. But like this aspect that comes in like halfway through the game, this is where the real shit happens. Like, and I feel like there should have been more of that earlier on,
or even more of it after as well. Just, like,
especially
more connection.
Funny, interesting thing. It's not mentioned in this story, but some other people who have played this ROM hack have found some extra stuff, and the creator of the mod made some other mods after this that hinted to a second victim. For their little like ARG like mystery that this spanned over a couple of years. Like they did this, and that people were kind of following it, and then it kind of petered out, and then it would kick up back in popularity again. But it has
did you get the whole like unidentifiable fingerprint thing?
Because of gloves?
Yeah, because Mario wears gloves.
Oh shit! I did not.
What a revelation!
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
Yeah.
And did you also notice that Nair is the murderer?
I'm sorry.
Well, because it says in the game the eyeballs were unable to be found. And he says, why were the eyeballs gouged out? There's nothing that says the eyeballs were gouged out, just unable to be found.
Oh, like Adam made a mistake and let it slip.
How else would you remove the eyes?
Scooped out.
Suction?
Scooped out.
Bring a vacuum. I think it's a safe assumption that they would be gouged out. Like,
I don't know.
That is the
I'm with
standard.
Mikey on this one.
That is the standard protocol for eye removal. I know this good and well. I have it on my eye removal handy book. It's fine.
We'll need to exchange notes, gamer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting back to the idea of this thing. So yeah, and I think this is actually getting close to the end of my notes, actually, because this is where I'm going into. So yeah, like the community, like after this story and this game were posted, some of the members of the community of this modding community, and other people that were just interested in the overall like mystery and ARG element of it, kind of got in, and the hack's creator ended up posting a few more cryptic things, like I said, that and I even had like a new Mario ROM hack that elaborated on the mystery, though sadly it did eventually peter out as the person lost interest, because they were kind of just doing it as they went to kind of like build up suspense and to build up the sort of the random nature of the mystery. The image in the text file, which you guys have all seen the image, right? Like the little like creepy distorted red or pixelated like red face with like a creepy eyes.
With no
like
eyes.
Well, it does have an eye, so it's like, is that the same? If you look at that image, it does technically, you can see the eyeball inside one of the sockets. Are you looking there, gamer?
Yeah.
So believe it or not, actually fairly recently, like this year, somebody found the actual like the actual image file that this murder victim image was created from. So we actually now know that it is not a murder victim. So everyone out there who's like listening to this that is like worried that like that image is of like an actual victim, you can rest assured the person was alive and well. It's not a murder victim image. It's someone cosplaying as a member of a Japanese metal band, Der Angre. So I'm gonna send my co-hosts a link that they can check out the progression that people like. I think it was like last year or a couple of years ago. They did this. They figured out like how the image like was like filtered.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is like this year somebody got a pure image of the original photo.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the comments. It's like the first comment on the actual creepypasta.
Yeah, there's that one, but like there's also like this one, like somebody got an even clearer photo that has like more of the photo, of just like the background and some of that. So yeah, like it's clearly just like somebody cosplaying one of these like metalheads.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just been heavily distorted with like red and black and yellow, and just like turned into that like distorted image of like a person's face and such. And yeah, like that image I remember seeing like years ago, like before we even got into like before we even started the show. Really, like I'd seen it like poking around on message boards and forums and stuff. So
yeah.
I just never realized it was tied to this Mario ROM hack and such. But yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to tackle this story, tackle like the story anyways, not the whole ARG element of it, was because I find the whole concept of the real creepypasta, like I do in quotes, real creepypasta that bloomed out into a mini ARG, really exciting. Like the fact that this creepypasta, like this ROM hack that came out that somebody did because they were tired of video game creepypastas not being grounded in reality. And so they made a ROM hack, a creepy ROM hack, and posted it online for somebody to discover. Then some person a few years later discovered the ROM hack in the queue of this community, played it, got freaked out, and wrote their a creepypasta account of their experience, and that kicked off this mystery for this ROM hack. I find that immensely exciting. I'm just kind of sad that the story that we're covering here, to me, when I was reading it, it didn't live up to the circumstances and the situation of the story. Mind you, this is years removed. I am years removed from when this first came out. So like, I can maybe imagine myself as a tween or a teen finding this on like a high school, like a computer, like in the library on a forum that I'm like browsing and getting spooked by this. But nowadays I can't. but I find the whole element of it existing, I'm glad it exists. But it's just like,
yet you don't recommend it.
I don't recommend the story because now I don't. Maybe I could give it a partial on the very low end, because it's something that I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad it's basically it's a creepypasta relic or artifact. Like it belongs in a museum.
You hate it.
I just didn't like how I didn't really get into the story.
Yeah.
But again, it's weird, like because yeah. The actual story was disappointing, but the overall, like the sum of its parts, or like is it the sum of its parts is like one thing of it, or is that like the whole? Anyway,
it's whole.
Yeah, okay. Like I like the whole of it, like the whole of the situation, and like the ROM hack, the creepypasta, and the mystery that evolved out of it. That I absolutely love. The story that started this, man, I've been trying this entire episode to try and get into the mindset of not a non-desensitized horror fan. I've probably been failing, but I may end up revoking my absolute not recommend to at least a partial on the low end. But and mostly because I also kind of feel like I'm being a little too harsh to Adam, since this is an actual story that they wrote based on their actual account on this ROM hack. But yeah, man, Adam, if you ever hear this, you were definitely like hamming up your encounter with this creepypasta. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, that's the end of my actual thoughts. So Mikey, the East for Evil.
All right. So my actual thought here is that the image at the end broke the already non-existent immersion that I had.
How?
Okay.
So to start off, it's a text file, or it's a quote unquote text file. And we get this quote here. Taking a closer look, at the top of the .txt file, mixed in with the gibberish, I found the only thing that looked like English there. Here is a piece of what I found. And then it's got gibberish, and then find me, find me, find me, find me, find me, find me, and more gibberish. The problem is, if you've ever converted an image to a text file, which you can by changing the type at the end, it's not recommended, but you can, it's complete gibberish. There is nothing resembling English in an image file converted to text.
Yes,
I
but
have a question,
couldn't
actually.
he have opened that text file, typed in "find me, find me, find me," save it, and then that's done? And then if you convert it back, it still mostly works.
As I
I
have no idea.
I think I
That's
actually.
I
So
think
here's
that's what the actual modder did.
yeah. So here's the thing. I actually may have some some light to shed on this on this indiscrepancy for you, Mikey. Because the original image that accompanied this, what we see in this wiki page, as I found out from, or as I recall from the KTB video essay, the original image that accompanied this creepypasta on the forums and stuff, when Kieran converted it to an image file, it was broken partially. Like, it wasn't completely this image. He had to do a Google. He had to basically scour like Google Images or like an image search engine to find that image that correlated perfectly with this one. But the original image had like most of the image like just like not actually exist, or it was basically broken. Like, it was there was like no actual like full image. It was just like the top part of the image.
So
And
it
then
probably worked fine until it got to the point where he typed in
added
"find
that.
me, find me, find me," and then it just fucked up after that.
Yeah. And so I think that might be why
But-
why it wouldn't have worked. But yeah.
But he found that at the top of the text file.
Yeah. So like, dude, like,
What order does it print in? Like, I don't know.
yeah. Also, I don't know what
have a band of mess up, but the rest of it underneath is fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to like load up this image and just type this in and just test this myself?
Like, I don't know what to tell you, Mikey, because like, based on like several video essays that have gone deep into like the actual like behind the scenes of this text file could actually create an image. It wasn't the perfect image. Like, people had to find that image elsewhere and like basically connected it to that image. But they did find, but this image does work otherwise.
Well, I feel like if they had the original image and then said, well, based on the research or whatever that we did, we found this one that's much clearer based on
Yeah.
what we have, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, I
But we
do
don't
agree.
get the original image.
Yeah, unfortunately, the wiki page doesn't give you that extra details. Like, those are things that you have to check out in other on other things.
Yeah. So for me to have a pretty well crystal clear image that's creepy, that ruined my immersion, considering I knew that there was text inside it that shouldn't have been there.
Especially, I was actually, now that I'm looking at it, like, because it says here in the aftermath thing, he tried manually converting it back to JPEG, but the result was barely viewable. The only recognizable part was the very top, which is how you see this. Basically, like the forehead of the victim face, and then the rest is like just bands of of color, that are created by the thing. He had to do. He then continued searching Google for images with his attempted resolution, blah blah blah. And the second result struck him as relevant because it was basically like the forehead of that image matched the forehead of the image he had reconstructed. And then the image, the JPEG that the screenshot we get on the wiki page, it shows this image and it says the text file converted back into JPEG. The find me string is included. That shouldn't be the right image. because that is showing the image that he found, not the image he converted. Because if you go to hang on. Yeah, because again, like this is it is explained on some of the video essays I was looking up for this the ARG angle of it, and it does show you like the actual like broken one. But this it might be something that may whoever's the modders for or the admins for creepypasta.wiki maybe want to update the aftermath aspect to be a little bit more accurate. Because like the image that we're given here is the full image of like that thing of what it was supposed to be, but because the find me string of text, that's not what Kieran ended up converting. That like that we're given here, or we're given slightly inaccurate information, like because they missed it, they skipped a step.
Speaking of false information, I downloaded the image, converted it to a text file, and did a Control F to try to find that specific string of gibberish right before where it says "find me, find me, find me," and it's not there.
Okay.
Maybe it's because the image that I'm taking isn't the correct one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
because you got you took the full one. You didn't take the one that was broken by the find me. So
it's been converted so many times at this point that it's not the original. So I didn't even attempt what Gamer just did, knowing it wasn't the original.
Yeah, but so the big issue here is like, yes, this was a text, like an image file that was put into text and put into Notepad, but because they added the find me for the creepypasta, and they don't mention in the they don't really mention the aftermath part of this article of this wiki article, that the image that we're given on the wiki article isn't the original image that Kieran converted, but is the final product that he found. That's where the I think your hiccup is.
Yeah, but where did he find it?
He Google searched using the he said he did a Google search on the image with the attempted version he had, which was basically the top part of the image, and the second result struck him as being relevant. Like he correlated and found that it matched basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. You're right, Mikey. But also the image, but also the web. It's more on the fault of the website, not giving us the exact accurate representation of that image, or not giving us all the information about the aftermath of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then my other actual thought here is that it's Mario, and it's not really creepy at all. The creepiness that we get is conveyed through text, and we don't even get anything really creepy until we get the message in the box after defeating Iggy.
Yeah, from the victim thing.
From the victim thing. And even then, that's grasping at straws. And it's all just fan-made. So it's basically something you could probably do nowadays in Mario Maker.
And I'm sure there have been some creepypastas that have been made from that. Again, this was the big thing about this story is that it was the first, or one of the first, video game creepypastas made with an actual ROM hack tied to it. And there was a group of people online that were either bored enough or just obsessive enough about it that they spent years looking into it and trying to figure out the mystery of it. So, and then the person who created the original hack got interested in that people were excited about his stuff and started basically doing their own thing for it, and then eventually got bored of it, and so he has come out with a couple of not AMAs, but sort of he's answered some questions from people in the past over the situation and stuff of that. Yeah, for a while
but-
it was an AR. It was sort of an ongoing ARG or online mystery that people were trying to solve.
Well, the thing is, to help me convey how non-creepy this was, I actually went on YouTube and found basically a let's play of this hack.
Mhm.
And he missed a couple of the levels, but everything else is as described. And it's just like, well, it's literally just a couple extra levels from in Mario. Like, I could not see the creepiness just from watching a let's play.
Well, and that's again like that's kind of what Gamer was trying to say to me over the course of this episode was like you kind of have to be in the headspace of like the time period when this came out, and also like what the mindset of what these people were kind of like what they were used to experiencing versus, and like this had like we have like years of like hearing about video game creepypastas and horror and stuff like that. These kids didn't know that or didn't have that. Like this was one of the first. So but again, like that is also why I wanted to take up the story bring up the story for the show, is because like your observation isn't invalid at all. Like it just and that's why I wanted it on the show, is because like we are taking the story of this creepypasta of this event and looking at it from our point of view now. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right. Gamer.
Okay. Actually, one thing I forgot to bring up is just I have a note on just like some of the game art. I had it up in art and not in notes, stupidly. The first one where it says him and it shows Mario, I had to like Google what the actual Mario sprite looks like, because it's it's diluted, but it's not diluted enough that I would have even caught it. Maybe if you are way into Super Mario World, you play it all the time like this guy clearly does, then you would automatically notice it. Yeah. But I didn't notice it right, that he's desaturated.
I'm 100% with you. I didn't note that down, but I was like, I guess it's muted. Like I would not have guessed, but again, like I'm not always like staring at Mario like hacks and stuff like that, so I'm not used to seeing the assets.
Yeah. But moving on.
Yep.
So the story starts, and it says, if you're on IRC, you would have heard me talking about it as well. But anyways, it's late at night, and I don't have a lot of time, and I need to get to sleep. So this is all I have time for. You know, a short little 4,500 word story.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't actually save this one to a Google Doc because there's so many images bound to it. So I don't know what the page count is, but like it was pretty long. It took me about like an hour or less to like read it and then also take my notes. So
yeah, so it just seemed weird that he said this is all I have time for. Meanwhile, it's a lot.
Yeah. Again, it's like, and this is not the stuff that he like. I don't think this is the stuff that he was like I think maybe he was actually, some of this might have been from his like postings on that IRC chat. So like when he was playing the game for real and not like
a compilation of everything.
Yeah, like this might be a compilation. So maybe he did have enough time to like he like basically copied and pasted a bunch of paragraphs he had written down from that IRC.
So it's a legit copy pasta.
Oh my god.
Copy pastaception.
It's the truest form.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm done.
Kind of. A little bit. Because like this one's just like me saying maybe I'm a little desensitized to it, but the creep hasn't hit me yet when he's saying like that I should quit playing. Well, I should have quit playing the hack a while ago and stuff like that.
Wait. Okay, sorry. I'm not going to fight you on this because like we brought it up. It's like we're reevaluating this thing from like the early 2000s or mid 2000s in the late 2020s. So
yes,
like,
and this goes on into my last note, which basically when the story mentions that this is like the first of its kind, like the first creepy hack for a Mario game.
Yeah.
As far as it being the first Mario hack with a creepy theme, okay, it has significance, and I can see more how at the time it would have been more creepy, since all the hacks back then were just fun and cool. So it took to the end of the story for me to basically change my tone on it a little bit.
Okay.
But I got there.
So you were also like not recommending this until the very end.
Pretty much.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, like, yeah, that's honestly kind of like, it took our conversation to also like kind of like whittle me down to at least giving it a partial.
Yeah.
Because of the whole of it, but not like just because like my perspective of it was just I was taking it from the story as value, not all the other things that have caused appreciation to it. So,
yeah, that's the end of my answer.
Okay, well that is honestly a good segue into final thoughts, because yeah, I'm going to give it a partial on the low end. I would not recommend the story. If I was just like linked to this story, and I probably would not recommend it to other people if it was just the story I read. But all the stuff around it, like the ARG, the ROM hack itself being created, and like the circumstances of the story being written, that would make me maybe recommend it to somebody who's interested in creepy video game history or like creepypasta history. Because effectively, that is what this is. This is a piece of, much like Polybius or Slenderman, this is sort of a relic or an artifact of the creepypasta past. The creepy past, if you will.
Creepypasta.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's from like the earliest days of like people telling spooky stories online and sharing them. So I give it a partial recommendation for that element of it. But like otherwise, if I was like, if you want me to recommend this story on its own, I don't think I'd recommend it. But if you're interested in learning a little bit of creepypasta history, I'd recommend it, and also maybe even forward you to some of the video essays on YouTube about it, because you get a lot more information about the mystery overall. So that is my recommendation. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
As a story goes, I don't feel the creepiness of this guy doing a Let's Play is feeling.
Fair.
It, like, if I were playing the game, I'd be like, this is weird and somewhat interesting, but I wouldn't feel creeped out by it because I know it's a fan-made hack.
Yeah.
Which this guy seems to forget that it's a hack.
Yeah.
And he's all like, "What is this? What
Take a drink.
is this?"
All right, second, take a drink option. Take a drink every time Adam forgets that he's playing a modded version of a game of a Mario game.
Yeah, so just I don't get the creepy factor. It would be nice at the end if they had the original image with the one that they found.
Yeah, I think especially since this is considered an archived historical like document on the wiki page, like on the wiki site, like these it's a historical archived video game creepypasta. So like they should maybe update the information of the aftermath to actually correlate properly with like what's been recently discovered and stuff, and also have the original image that was converted, not just the final product.
Yeah, like and because the thing that annoyed me was that we were given the final product, but it says that it has the find me in it, which is a lie.
I think that might have been what somebody in the comments was actually mentioning, because I saw like somebody in the comments was asking the admins to fix something in the afterword as well. Yeah, the intro and so somebody is like, the intro and aftermath paragraphs are both either missing a lot of crucial information or contain information that is either outdated or misleading.
Yeah.
And like, who can I contact to get the page corrected or updated?
So basically, like if you're trying to say that this is stuff that actually happened, which I guess it did, there should be like every bit of evidence to show that. Like that file at the end, we should be able to download, convert it to a text format, and look into it and find that exact string that says
find me.
Yeah, because like that's immersion right there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's like. The afterward and some of that even kind of goes in like hard into that, because it's like, here's the links that you can actually play this ROM. You can actually do this image and stuff like that, or like get this image and stuff. And here's all the links to the forums and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but then they miss that one piece of information that's kind of like necessary for clarifying like the of what happened in the aftermath.
Yeah, it could just say like the file with the find me code in it is not displayable, but this is what it is when you remove the find me, when you remove the words from it.
Yeah, like just even fixing the little like subtext, the little descriptor or subtext underneath the screenshot would be better. Would be the best.
Yeah. So
this is a call out to the admins of creepypasta.wiki.
Yeah.
You mean creepypasta.fandom.com?
Yes. We know you're listening. I hope. Maybe. Yeah, maybe just edit that, maybe, please. I love how I went so like
it's their job. I think it's the author's job.
Well, no, because this author, like this story was probably posted on the creepypasta.wiki by somebody else, not the actual creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of the archived like historical creepypastas, especially the ones that don't even have like actual like poster like identifiable authors, will get posted on the wiki by somebody else for like historical record, basically.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I liked how I was just like, I went like, someone was like, for you admins of creepypasta.wiki, maybe please just do this. Like I went like so hard, and then like we're real like sheepish afterwards.
Real timid, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Yeah. So, as I'm saying, overall, I still do not recommend this.
Tough but fair.
That is entirely fair.
Yeah. And then Gamer, the most hopeful of us since the beginning.
Am I? Yeah, I guess I am.
You kind of were today.
Yeah. So for the historical significance of this, I will give this a partial. It being like the first creepy hack of a Super Mario World game and all that, and it being literally literally actual history from a real world playthrough of a real hack. Like that is the reason that I'm saying this is partial, because like the cultist, I enjoy that aspect. That's really cool. That this is real, you know.
Yeah.
If this wasn't the first one ever done for this, however, I would have to say I wouldn't recommend it, because there was nothing that really quote unquote got me through the whole read.
Yeah.
Like all the conclusions that Nair or Adam, I guess, came to seemed a little far fetched and a bit of a stretch. Like all of it, like because he's like theorizing all the like different things that could be happening in the story and all that.
Yeah, he's trying to like gauge, like trying to figure out the story of that the creator's telling in this.
Yeah, and like granted, like I connect with him, at least since like we do this on a weekly basis where like we nitpick and reach very far to find the creep when the source material isn't very clear about it.
Yeah.
But for me though, since Nair did all the theory crafting for this, I felt like I was just along for the ride and didn't have a reason to do so myself, because he was already giving me potential reasons and the answers for the story and what's happening, so I didn't have to think about it too much. So it kind of took some of the fun out of it for me, to be honest.
Okay. So you prefer it when like the story when somebody doesn't like do a bunch of theories in their story, you'd rather have the theory crafting be on you, the reader.
Well, I mean, it's okay if it's one or two, but like he was going over like a whole bunch of different options.
Yeah,
it's point where it's just like, yeah, it's probably one of those. I don't know.
It's like I'm too lazy to come up with more.
Yeah, it's either like do it light or not at all in regards to theory crafting, because if you do it too much, then the reader can't have that aspect of thinking about it themselves. Then they're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
But regardless, historical significance and all that, I still partially recommend this because at the end of the day, me reading this story and learning about what happened and all that, I still enjoyed this experience. All in all.
Mhm.
So I can't say I don't recommend it because I'm not saying that I hated doing this and I wish I didn't do it. So it was still fun in that aspect. So it's still a partial for me.
Okay. So,
But if we did clarify the image stuff at the end, that would be nice. Yeah.
like you don't even have to like go and find the original like distorted image or broken image, but like just tweak that like that bottom descriptor for that screenshot just so it doesn't make it sound like this is what they converted.
Yeah.
That's not what they converted. They converted part of that image and then had to Google. And they what's funny is that even the article even show like the afterward math even like says that the image wasn't fully like it wasn't able to be fully converted, and that he had to Google search the image and like kind of compare the image.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean that image is out there on the internet when it's not connected to this story? Like, how do you just find that
true.
image?
Yeah, I did check out the video essay the other like last night to like get my like have some information and ideas for this, but like it doesn't. I don't think it said anything like that. Like this image was specifically for this. It was just an image that the person found and put it in the document.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Also, this is what's weird about this story too that I'm not used to. Normally, I can question something and say that's weird. That doesn't make sense because it's usually a fictional story. But in this case, I can't question it because it actually happened.
Yeah, that's why like when Mikey earlier was like bringing up like, oh, like this text file, like that's not what it works. It's like I don't know what to tell you because this is how it actually happens.
Yeah.
Like we have quantifiable evidence from multiple sources that this is how this is done.
Yeah.
Also like I will say like the mystery is a little if you check out the video essays at your own risk, because it does kind of, if you're of a certain perspective, it may cheapen or like may like by the end of like some of these video essays, it may cheapen the mystery or the mystique of the mystery.
Oh, yeah, because it explains everything, right?
Yeah, because it explains exactly like what the ROM hacker was doing. For me, it made sense. Like I really commend the person for doing it, but some of the other things they did, it was like, okay, I can see why somebody might be like disappointed when they find out about this. So, yeah. But I leave that on to the our listeners to check out at their whim. So, and as for our show, I guess that will do it. We have 2 partial recommendations, mostly on the actual like the whole of the story and the ROM hack and the mystery. Not so much on the story alone.
Yeah,
and
or even like the game itself isn't even like a creepy, like well-made ROM hack because it's confusing
and that was actually intentional.
Yeah, I guess.
Based on like from the creator's mouth, that was actually intentional.
Okay, gotcha.
But
then well done.
Yeah. From I would say like I think our partial recommendations really come from like an appreciation for like what happened around the stuff.
Yes.
And like I'm sure like this was cool and like brand new when it was brand new back when it was first created. But like nowadays it's a little it's kind of it's more or less a relic of a bygone era. a bygone era of innocence, I suppose. But I guess that'll do it. So 2 partial recommendations on the low end and 1 non-recommendation. So and that'll do for this week's episode. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted. We're all on Twitter or X. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end because his name is very long.
Yeah.
And I'm at Review Cultist. Review Cultist is also on Blue Sky, the other new social media space. So you can check me out there. I post art and links and stuff of that based off of El Dente Rigor Mortis and also our sister podcast, One Less Die. Plug.
Yep.
You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tiers with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and as always, forever. We very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, or the modders of these ROM hacks, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, we'd be like screaming into the void. And believe it or not, without your ROM hacks that some person got creeped out by and wrote a creepypasta, and without your story that you wrote and posted on these modder forums that sparked a decade of mystery
Yeah, really.
for a small group of people online, and eventually trickled down to us, three chucklefuck podcasters that are into creepypastas, we really wouldn't have much of a show, because like I've said every fucking episode, we'd have nothing to talk about and nothing to read and check out. And I always feel blessed when we have these creepypastas to read and discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when I'm disappointed in a story, I'm still glad I read the story.
Yes.
So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. D stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.